I've long wanted to cover a Ubisoft game on the channel because they feel like such a perfect fit for what I do, right? I love talking about worlds and fun details in them, and Ubisoft excels in that space. So why is it when it finally comes time to cover one of these games for a video, I feel like I have no spots to talk about? Let's get into that. Welcome to Video Game World Tours, and this is Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's hard to put into words, really. I love playing these games. I wouldn't say I'm a longtime fan of any particular Ubisoft franchise, but every now and then one of their games strikes me. Assassin's Creed Origins was the latest one. For whatever reason, I decided to go after all the achievements and 100% it, which is weird because I usually don't do that with open world games. Interestingly enough, I did consider making a video on that game, but I kinda found myself in the same position. The way I usually talk about game worlds doesn't really vibe with a Ubisoft open world. I just decided to shelve that video back then because of that. But today, I really want to explore why that is, because I think it's kinda interesting. Assassin's Creed Shadows' world doesn't feel very gamey. Maybe it's because I've been playing a lot of older games on the channel lately, but I kinda forgot about what it's like to explore a massive open world. Spots in games like Ratchet & Clank or Tony Hawk's Pro Skater stick out because levels are so small, relatively. If I asked you to mentally picture the layout of a map from one of those games, you'd probably be 95% accurate. For these videos, I like to focus on the 5% of spots that you forget about. It's interesting what slips your mind when mentally recalling a level. And because of how small levels in older games are, that means there's only a couple spots you probably forgot. But in games like Assassin's Creed Shadows, I barely remember any spots. I couldn't mentally picture the layout of Sakai or Osaka, the first settlements you come across. I definitely couldn't do it with 95% accuracy. I couldn't even do it with 10%. I don't remember specific buildings in the towns or distinct points of interest. It all kinda just blends together. I think that's interesting. It's obvious so much care was put into this world. So much research went into making the game look authentic. But when it comes time for me to mentally lock all this stuff into my brain, it just kinda goes in one eye and out the other. But not all the time. Occasionally, a spot will truly demand attention, and I can't help but gawk at it. So let's take a look at some of those and see what beauty this game is hiding. Heading out the north side of Yamazaki Castle in Yamashiro is a stream. Surrounding that stream are some beautiful trees. This is almost stunning in its own right. But eventually, it opens up and you find yourself facing a beautiful field. The way it's so open and free after that claustrophobic path is a breath of fresh air. All these crops growing as far as the eye can see. I can't tell you what they are because it's winter as I'm writing this. They're dead. But you'll be able to see them in the footage right now. Just what are they growing here? Could this be the famous sushi crop? Perchance. And something that's not unique to this spot, but something I might as well talk about while I'm here, are these scarecrow archer things. Do these have any basis in reality? Like, do we have it documented somewhere that there were scarecrows decorated as archers back then? Or is this just a bit of fun that the environmental designers were having? I actually did look into it a bit, and apparently, Kuei-biko is the name of a Shinto god, that being one of wisdom and agriculture. It's depicted as a scarecrow that watches over crops and sees all, yet is unable to move from its posted spot. That doesn't really answer my earlier questions, but it's a fun little knowledge detour. Doesn't hurt to learn something every now and then. The next spot we're going to look at is actually closer than I realized. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump east to the Awashi Mizu Hachiman Shrine. Swimming across a short river, we arrive on the island it calls home. You know, I could just climb up the side of the cliff to get up there real quick, but something about this game compels me to take the intended path. I feel like I'm under this game's spell at times. Even though I know I could take a quicker route, I choose to take one that would make sense in-world. We'll talk more about that later though. For now, let's admire this shrine. There's a bunch of shrines and temples in this game that go for this look, but this one caught my eye for whatever reason. First of all, there's no enemies walking around, so you can really take your time in observing it. And secondly, it feels really well kept. Most of the buildings you come across in shrines are, but everything surrounding the shrine here feels exceptionally clean. Very minimalist. It's not over-designed to the point where you can't focus on anything. They were very careful about what decorations they did place. Down towards the entrance, you can kinda see what I mean. The path is deteriorating as grass and dirt covers up the stones. It's much more weathered. But heading further into the shrine, it's perfectly maintained. This is a me thing, but I always like going behind buildings in games. Like, so much time and care is put into making the main space look good, but what about the spots just behind those? You usually won't find much, but I think it's interesting just to see the space anyway. Partially because I think nobody else really checks out these spots. Like, how many players do you reckon have walked around back here for more than 2 seconds? Can't be that many. I dig this space. There's not much to do here other than collect a mastery point, but I still appreciate it. The next spot we're gonna visit is Kyoto. Though can you call a whole city a spot? Coming into Kyoto for the first time, I definitely took notice of this main street right here. Well, I say main street, it's not really designated like that, but it definitely feels like one. Such a long and unbroken sight line. I just love getting to see so much of the city from one point. Cities. I don't know, it feels like there's not a lot to do in these either. There's usually a merchant or two and some enemy camps to clear, but that's it. So much space, and it's all just for flavor. Though it is nice to walk down these streets and just soak it in. Eavesdrop on people having a conversation, getting harassed by guards, exploring some buildings. You can enter a lot of the buildings in major cities. I don't know why you would, because you'll rarely find anything in them. Hell, anyone in them. Maybe I was just unlucky or it didn't look long enough, but I couldn't find a single person residing in their home. Nobody sleeping, nobody cleaning, nobody just vibing. They're so empty. It's an interesting feeling how these cities are so busy on the surface, but just beneath it, it feels off. Another city that definitely caught my eye more visually was Azuchi and Omi. Though this technically is a castle, it feels more like a city. It's imposing, the way it's built on top of this mountain. And even if it does have a lot of boring interiors like Kyoto, just the landscape of this city makes it so much more interesting. There's so many different buildings at different elevations, it keeps you on your toes. I mean, if I was picking a place to live, I'd definitely pick Kyoto. The steps here seem like they'd be exhausting. But if we're just going off vibes, I like to look at Azuchi Castle more. It's interesting to just walk down some paths and see where they take you. See what buildings and spaces you come across. Even though I've complained about there not being much to do in settlements like this place really evokes childlike wonder in me. I want to just aimlessly walk around and see everything this place has. I don't even have anything to say about a lot of this. My YouTuber brain cannot conjure any words to describe this space or what I like about it. I just like to see it. I'm appreciating the work the developers put in. Here you go, you can appreciate it too. Heading back out into nature, there's one spot I thought was charming. I noticed this while riding from the Omi province into Iga. It's right here on the map. It's nothing special, really. I just happened to be in the right mood when I rode through, and I thought it was beautiful. The way there's all this shade cast from trees above, it feels like a secluded little pocket of the world. Grand spots are begging to be admired and shown off in this game, but I also appreciate the tiny ones. And think of how many beautiful tiny locations like this there must be in the world. The play space in this game is just so massive. There are so many roads you'll never go down, so many unmarked points of interest you won't discover. And hell, as we just saw, even normal environmental spots can be beautiful. It's not like this was crafted to be some secret hidden shrine or dungeon not marked on the map. This is just a road, and it's beautiful. The environment is breathtaking at times. It's so much fun to ride down these paths and see what the landscape looks like. People will clown on Ubisoft for a lot of things in their games, but one thing they absolutely nail is environmental design. I can't think of an open world game like this that I've found myself stopping in so often and just looking around. The consistent beauty of this game is one of its greatest strengths. And you guys know me, I'm always going on about how many players have seen any particular spot. I've done it in this video. I'm just fascinated with the idea that players chart their own path in these worlds. Like, looking at the map from my current playthrough, it's interesting to see where I've been and where I haven't. Obviously there's some provinces I've yet to visit, but even the ones I have been in, there's big chunks of the map I haven't explored. Like, will I ever uncover this part of the map? Or this one? I don't know. There are some parts of this map that are wooded and seemingly house nothing. It's just a mountain with some trees. There's absolutely no reason to walk around this area. But you know what? They still made it. Even though you don't have to go up this hill, you still can. Having a world be this big is key to discovery. You want empty space or alternative paths to create stories individual to the player. Their experience playing Assassin's Creed Shadows is unique, even if there are 2 million plus players. Every one of those players' maps looks different from one another. I don't know, I'm just captivated with the idea of a player's journey throughout a world. Remember the hero's path in Breath of the Wild? That was a feature that tracked your movement across the whole world throughout your playthrough, and you could just press a button on the map screen to see it. That path tells a story. You can remember being at a certain point in the world, seeing something in the distance, and beelining over to it. I wish more games like this had that feature. It's easy to overlook just how important a world can be in a game. After all, the core of Shadows here is just wandering around Japan, helping people. You not only understand Naoe and Yasuke, but you understand the world. You become familiar with the language it speaks. It's comforting. Real quick, before we visit my favorite spot that I've seen so far, I briefly want to talk about the seasons. You might have noticed from the footage, but the game doesn't take place during just summer or whatever. Every couple hours of real-world playtime translates to one of the seasons. So you get 2 hours of assassinating in, and then you get to see the world in a different light. And they did such a good job at differentiating them. Admittedly, spring and summer kinda blend together. They always do when seasonal changes come up in games. But those two, combined with winter and fall, are great. In spring and summer, it's green as far as you can see. It's so idealistic. All the flora is flourishing. It's almost dreamlike how perfect it is. Fall comes and orange takes over. Leaves are blowing in the wind. Sometimes, if you catch the wind going just the right way, leaves will flow with you while riding by on your horse. It's almost like a magical realism, where you're an unstoppable force moving through the environment and the wind follows your lead. And then winter. Snow consumes the landscape. The pure white that covers the ground looks perfect. In real life, I've always appreciated seeing a nice sheet of snow undisturbed by footprints. You'll see a lot of that during the season. It's amazing. Then the cycle repeats. It's an interesting choice that it's roughly 2 hours for the season to change. I feel like that's just long enough to where you start to get bored of the current environment and are ready for a change. Once fall leaves, pun intended, it'll be 6 hours until you get to see it again. At that point, you'll be itching to run with the wind like you did the year previously. The art direction in this game is insane. This is some of the best work Ubisoft has done when it comes to their worlds. And my eyes were really open to that when I was riding into Omi. I had a quest to complete at Azuchi Castle, so I was making my way through the province for the first time. Like this game loves to do so much, I was riding down a claustrophobic path with trees on both sides. And then finally, the game lets up and reveals this landscape. Breathtaking. I love this game design trope. I don't know if it has a formal name or not, but I call these scale reveals. I talked about it back on my Xenoblade Chronicles tour. You find yourself in a narrow corridor, you slowly go through it, tension building. Eventually, it opens up and reveals a wide and expansive scene before you. It's almost like a breathing exercise. The game inhales when you enter the tunnel in the first place. You hold that breath and suspense fills you, and then the game exhales, relieving you of that tension. So much space to ride through. Look at all this. And Izuchi Castle, way in the distance, high up on that mountain. It's imposing. This is such a striking scene. It was this moment when I realized this game was special. I don't know if I'll 100% this game. Hell, I don't even know if I'll beat the main story. But I know this environment will stick in my mind for a good while. Thanks for watching.